Hey, hey, Bob's back. More Tales from the Clubhouse. This is the 19th one of these that I'm doing today. And, these just come off my head. They're not the easiest things to think of all the time. But let's get into one subject today. And that's when you're in a club, don't let your old lady act like she's the one with the patch. So, bikers generally need a strong willed old lady in their lives. It's usually what they end up with, which is it all meshes well together. You know what I mean? So you can't have a wet blanket and you can't have an old lady who's not into the lifestyle. But definitely don't have your old lady making your decisions for you or speaking for you at the clubhouse. I've seen that more than one occasion. You know what I mean? Or the one that killed me out of all of them. I had a whole bunch of my probates with me down at another chapter down the highway. We've been there all weekend. It was a weekend event. The probates were down there doing what they had to do, the guard duties and behind the bar and all that stuff that they got to do. And it was Sunday night and it was time to get home. And then it started downpouring. Man, it was a miserable rainstorm. So, me not having a job, and my old lady is pretty, she knew what she was getting into, right? So I called her up, say, hey, probably not coming home today. The weather sucks. I'll ride home tomorrow, sort of thing. The one guy had to get home that night. And of course, he's built a soft tail basically into a hard tail and took the front fender off to get the goddamn thing and all that stuff. Cool looking bike, but not worth a damn in the rain, let me tell you. So we're coming down that highway. He wanted to go home. Well, then let's go home, bud. Let's go for it. We're coming down that highway. We're stopping under overpasses to get out of the rain for a minute, maybe have a dry cigarette, you know what I mean? And even back then, I was riding a bike without a fairing. I was none too happy about this whole ordeal. But his old lady told him he had to be home. End of story. It was like, if I don't go home tonight, I'm not going to have an old lady no more by Monday. It's like, oh, would you give me a break? So, yes, it's necessary to have a fairly strong-willed woman, especially when it comes into stuff like the cops are coming through your door and they want to search everything. And it's a raid, it's a raid, it's a raid. And they're pushing your old lady around. And I found what they did with mine was that they would threaten her. Actually, they charged her. So they raided me for a poo poo, and they came right on in through the doors and they found it. I told them where it was. They said, it's up there, it's over there. You know what I mean? Watch out, it's one of the two sort of thing, blah, blah, blah. So they go in there and then they they threatened her with having to go to jail, and our firstborn was a baby, like just a baby at the time, still wearing diapers, baby sort of thing, right? And it's what they want to do. They want to see if they can get your old lady to snitch on you, because if your old lady snitches on you, then she can't be your old lady no more, can she? Can she? You guys better know the answer to that question. If your old lady snitches on you, can she still be your old lady while you're in a club? You better know the answer to that question. And that's a big issue in the outlaw motorcycle club world, man. You can't. Anyways, you should know the answer to that question. I shouldn't have to ask it. So or they would do like they did in the case at my house, and they co-charged both of us. Like, well, how can two people own the same thing? But basically, what it is to get the dude to step up in court and plead guilty, and in exchange they'll drop the charge on your old lady. That's the game they play. It's kind of a guaranteed conviction. They were going to get a conviction anyway. The damn thing was in my bedroom on my dresser, so it wasn't like I was denying the fact that I had it. Anyways, so back to old lady. So your old lady cannot run your life inside the club. She can run your life at home if that's how you guys got it worked out at home, and it works for you, then whatever. It's not really my business, not the way I would do it. But hey, if it's working for you and you don't mind it that way, then good enough. But you know what I mean? She can't say, no, you're not going on that run. Or when again, I was doing the thing the other time about everyone teeing up and getting ready to go on for a run. She can't make you late for the run. I remember another time, a brother's wedding. And of course, we all went on our bikes. He was a club brother, and it was a club wedding. And it rained on in between the ceremony and the reception. And I had to take my old lady home so she could put new clothes on and redo her makeup and her hair and bullshit. It's like, come on, this is a biker wedding. This ain't, this. We're not going to be on the cover of any magazine here. It's a biker wedding. How you look is how you look. You got caught in the rain. You got caught in the rain. Life will go on. So, like I say, have a strong-minded woman. You need a strong-minded woman. You really do. There'll be them times when you're sitting it out wearing orange, and you need a woman that can take care of the household stuff and make sure the mortgage is paid and the bills are paid and all that stuff, and knows well enough to get a hold of the club brothers if they need something or whatever, right? But that was another place where my old lady failed. She would rather go buy dancing powder than go pay the mortgage, which in the end it had us losing our house. I wasn't even in jail a year, so that was pretty bummer. But anyways, you live and learn. So make sure your old lady, especially if it's a new old lady, and some guys, they want to impress the old lady with the fact that they're in a club. Well, make sure she understands she's not a member. She's not a member. She doesn't get a vote. She doesn't go to meetings. She doesn't get a say. She's your old lady. So you got to keep it on that level. You know what I mean? You have to make sure that your woman in there, obviously you want to have a woman in your life. Nobody's telling you not to have a woman in your life. Just she has to understand her role, I guess, is what I'm saying, without trying to be misogynistic about it. You know what I mean? So make sure you get a strong-willed woman, but a woman who also understands where she stands in the whole club relationship of everything, right? And you don't want her coming in there and getting too close to your club brothers. It never looks good to glance across the room and see your old lady giggling away with one of your club brothers and sharing a secret. It's a bad look, so don't get into that with your club brothers. Yep, get along with your old ladies, 100% get along with them. We're supposed to be a family, right? But a family. You're supposed to be a family. So, in other words, you're not trying to mac on your brother's old lady, and especially, you don't go near somebody's old lady if the guy's in jail ever. Gives you a bad name. It's a bad look. It's even a bad look for the club if one of the members does it. And yeah, it happens. I seen it happen inside my own club. It wasn't one of my favorite things. It was a guy I knew very well. He went to prison. His old lady ended up dating one of my brothers. And how do you square that circle? You know what I mean? But anyways, at that time, I felt it wasn't none of my business, so I stayed out of it. You know, the brother had many, many years in the club, longer than I did. And, you know, we left it up to him. Allegedly there was Dear John letters sent and whatever. And that's not the way that the man wants to find out he's single either. But we can get into that in a different video if you want to. The Dear John letter and what it leads to. It usually leads to the guy who's sitting it out, end up having to go down the hole because he just smashed somebody on the range that didn't do nothing probably, but he didn't like the guy. So again, old ladies, obviously, they're part of the life. The property patch doesn't just get handed out to somebody you just met last week. The chapter actually gets a vote on whether the old lady gets that property patch or not in most cases. At least they should in most reputable clubs. That's the way I would play it. And they can't they can't dictate what you're doing with the club. Otherwise, it ain't going to work out. So they can come with you. They can come to parties. They can come to the events. They can come to Clubhouse one night a week or something like that and hang out with you when you're not the guy behind the bar or whatever, but she can't dictate it. If she dictates how much time and effort you're putting into the club, she's not the right one. She might fit for you, but you gotta look into the bigger picture. Does she fit in with me and the club and all the things I want to do with the club? So it's a whole different way to look at it. You have lots of one nighters, hit and run kind of girls. There's lots of them around. There'll always be them when you're in a motorcycle club. There's lots of plats chasing girls out there. They're fun for a night, maybe two, but when you're starting to decide, which this is a girl I'm gonna hang out with, stay with, maybe move in with, maybe have a kid with, maybe even get married with, make sure she understands kind of what the packing order is. You know what I mean? Club first. And if your old lady's a new old lady and you tell your brothers, "Oh, I can't do this, my old lady, blah blah blah," they're shaking their heads and laughing at you. So keep that in mind. Old ladies are obviously a part of your life, but they can't be an overbearing part of your life. So that's what I got. Tales from the Clubhouse. Biker News Canada. And go check out my bonus work. I've been working hard over on Patreon. That's what I'm doing over here. I'm making another video. If you see me keep turning my head and looking away, I'm building another video for the Patreon channel. I posted a couple of the videos up on this channel just to give everyone a preview, see what they're like. I've got over 60 videos up there. They're all short, 10-minute, 12-minute, 8-minute, somewhere around there, quick hitters. And they cover various points of motorcycle club life. I call it Biker Secrets, but it's still under Biker News Canada on Patreon. Go check it out and subscribe to the Patreon Biker News Canada channel. All right, guys, that's what I got. Tales from the Clubhouse. Dun, dun, dun. Number 19. Okay. Keep your old lady behind you on the bike. That's where she goes. Till next time, have a great one. And keep riding.